Hello everybody and welcome to the Human Echoes recap for Z Nation Season 4 Episode 2, Escape from Zona. Although, why would you ever want to escape from Zona, right guys? It seems pretty nice there. The lawns are well manicured, the women are pretty, the men are rich enough to afford the pretty women, there's nice cars and... Oh wait, yeah. Also, everybody got Murphy's blend vaccine, and now there's a problem. I love this intro. I like the way they portray this problem before they tell us, like, okay, here's what's going on, guys, which they do later on in the episode, but before they get to that, we just see this guy driving along with his nice car and his nice lady, and distracted, as I would argue maybe he has a right to be somewhat, and then they run over a guy. And it's not malicious, right? It's a fairly basic, accident. You could see how this could happen pretty easily. And so they get out and examine the damage, right? You see the dead body lying there on the ground, and everybody comes around from the neighbor's place and looks at this body on the ground. And this seems like a fairly normal reaction to running somebody over with your car. Nobody's screaming and running for help yet. Oh God, what are they doing? They're eating him. They're just biting this dead body. Not zombified, by the way. We are not talking about zombies. These are still Murphy's blends of some kind. They have had a vaccine. I don't know if it's the same vaccine that Murphytown had, or if the scientists in Zona came up with something a little bit different. I kind of hope that it's a different vaccine, because I want Murphytown to still be around. I want those guys to still be cool. They weren't the bad guys. I mean, they were fighting our people and they were working for Murphy, but they just wanted to have a better life. Oh well. And in the midst of all of this, Murphy doesn't see this happening, but we see Murphy and Warren, and they meet up with the scientist who says, and we've seen this guy in the first episode of the previous season, in the flashback episode. He was one of the guys that the man took to Zona. And this guy says to him, things are about to go bad. We need to leave now, like within the next 15 minutes, and hurries them to try to find uniforms, because the only people who are getting off the island, so to speak, are these unvaccinated soldiers. I don't know why they had unvaccinated people. I guess they had a fail-safe, like, just in case this doesn't work, maybe we'll have some people, but it seems like you would just vaccinate everybody. If you have all this confidence in your vaccine, just vaccinate all your peeps. But they have some peeps that are not vaccinated, apparently, and Murphy and Warren, for some reason, need to pose as soldiers to get on this helicopter, even though we already, it is established that they aren't vaccinated. So, I don't know what that is about. But they need to go and get these guys uniforms, and, of course, they get the uniforms. In the midst of fighting with these soldiers to get their uniforms, which, of course, by the way, end up fitting perfectly, because this is TV World. In the midst of this struggle, Warren has another black rainbow vision. And we don't get a lot of more information from this vision, and she has another one later on in the episode too, any more than we already did, but it is like reinforcing. Okay, by the way, yes, this black rainbow is still going to be a thing. It's still going to be important. They get the uniforms, and in the midst of this struggle, they almost are hit by a golf ball. And they go to find out who's been hitting golf balls in a warehouse, and it turns out to be one of Murphy's friends. And this guy has a dead body next to him. Things are looking a little crazy in Zona. And the actor and the way he plays this role, not Murphy's actor, but the guy who's acting crazy, is just wonderful. I loved how almost together he had things. Like, you could tell he was crazy, but he's not so over the top crazy that you don't buy it. He's creepy crazy. And Murphy's just sort of like, it's all fine. Yeah, you killed a dude and you're mad about that I wasn't showing up for golf. Okay, dude, calm down. It feels like you could almost rationalize this person down from their craziness, until, of course, he breaks and goes completely psychotic and and charges at them like a maniac. So Murphy now has proof things are bad. Things are not gonna go well for him, and he tries to escape. And he tiptoes through Zona. You know, he has to put off a bunch of other people, and finally he gets to the founder. Apparently you have to go through the founder's house to get to the helipad. Sure, that makes sense. This was maybe the weakest scene in the episode for me. It seemed like they were going for tension here. They were trying to create, like, there's a ticking clock. We don't actually have a specific countdown on the wall, but it seems like that they probably need to get out of here pretty fast. They have to go through this guy's place, and he's just wanting to talk to them. And he spouts off all this crazy nonsense about the Dunning-Kruger effect and just wanting to hang out with Murphy. He's got his two lady friends there. Again, I think they were going for tension, but in my mind, this scene played out like an actual conversation with an old person who just wants to talk and doesn't want you to leave. Just went on for a little bit too long and really raised the question. These people have guns and stuff, so why not just shoot this dude? I mean, Murphy would be upset, but Warren would be fine with it. She doesn't have any connection to the founder. She's not all, like, grateful to him for saving her life or anything. So I'm a little bit... this scene was a mixed bag for me. They do finally make it past him. They go to the helicopter. In the elevator, it's revealed that the scientist that is trying to get them out is himself infected with the Murphy vaccine. And I like his character a lot in this episode. There's a certain amount of pathos to him, knowing that he's going to go crazy, knowing that he's about to lose control, and yet trying to get these two people to safety and to where they can maybe still do some good, knowing that he has very limited amount of time left on his clock. He does turn in the elevator, though. Very long elevator ride where he talks to them before he turns about not giving up on the vision that Warren has, and that it might be the subconscious or some kind of a warning for her that she needs to do something. So it takes him a long time to get to the roof, although maybe the elevators in Zona are not in 100% best repair. But he turns, they have a battle in the elevator. Murphy eventually shoots him as he's attacking Warren, and she has another one of her black rainbow visions, and they make it to the helicopter. And I gotta shout out to the Asylum who produces these. I've seen a lot of Asylum movies, and I know what their special effects look like, and I know what their CG helicopter looks like. And trust me, this is, I'm 99% sure, a CG helicopter, but it's a darn good looking CG helicopter. They've really upped their game on the computer generated helicopter stuff, and I was impressed. It's a silly thing to like call out in this episode, but I thought it was really good. Meanwhile, with the main group, 10K and Doc and Henry Rollins are all concerned about the location of this convoy, right? They're at this camp where they're waiting for this convoy to take them to New America, and the convoy is late. They've fallen out of contact with them. They don't know where they are. They have an idea where they are. They have like a 10-mile stretch of road. It's not like they were just trucking through America and like they're out there somewhere in the wilderness. Like they have a basic idea, but they don't have a specific beat on them. And nobody's been in contact. And some of the people and some of the soldiers in this compound are understandably worried. They're like, this is the zombie apocalypse. Like, you had some people traveling through open country and you lost contact with them. Probably bad stuff went down and we should be very worried. But Henry Rollins' character tries to put a damper on all these fears, right? He knows that they need to keep hope up. If they're gonna get to this place, this New America place, they need to have the hope to continue. And so he says, listen, we're not gonna give up yet. We're not gonna all disperse and go on our own ways. We are going to go and look for this convoy. And so he does. He takes Doc, he takes 10K. They go to find the convoy, and everything's gone. I say everything. All the people are gone. Everyone is gone. And there is, I think, a very deliberate invocation of the Mary Celeste in this episode. They don't say Mary Celeste in any of the lines of dialogue, but the inspiration, I think, is very clear. The Mary Celeste was a ship that was found floating abandoned completely. There was no people left on board, and yet there were like still hot breakfasts on the table. There was like a half-finished game of poker. There's a captain's log entry that's just like stopped in mid-sentence, and there's a lot of really cool and also some really rational theories about why and how this happened. And you get, I think, a very Mary Celeste vibe with this convoy, and some stuff that will happen later that we'll mention when we get to it. But they all the people are gone, but they haven't taken any supplies with them, and they're trying to figure this out. There's a house nearby the convoy that they send one of the soldiers to check out, and he is shot by a sniper from the house. And we get this wonderful sort of pinned down sniper versus sniper with a man in no man's land in the middle that I think really works well for the most part in this episode, and some of the escalation does well too. You get that sort of World War I sense of you're a guy who's gone over the battlements, right, for some charge into the teeth of the machine gun fire of the Germans, and they've just, tore a hole in your gut, and you're laying in a puddle in the middle of a bombed out crater from a mortar shell somewhere, and just bleeding out, and nobody can get to you because they'll get shot. It's one of those kind of situations, although scaled down because Z Nation and budget and stuff. But here's this guy laying here, obviously in pain. Henry Rollins bringing the fire again. Just a great actor. He has this, he looks, when you look at his face, he looks super tough. And then when he makes facial expressions, he looks so vulnerable and puppy dog-ish. It's a weird juxtaposition, and he's, as a commander of this unit, is very concerned about his man. He wants to get to him, but he obviously can't sacrifice more people to try and go and get this guy who's been shot because they're still laying down fire. And they just lay here as this guy is bleeding out. And 10K tries to, take out the sniper in the house, starts just blasting everything in the house. What he does not know is that Addie and Lucy are in this house being held by the Zona guys. I don't know exactly what their plan is here. And by the way, I'm assuming that they're Zona guys based on their uniforms, because we've seen the Zona uniforms. We haven't actually got 100% clarification on that, but it seems likely. But 10K doesn't know that Addie and Lucy are in this house. He just knows that he wants to not die. And I love that setup. I love that sort of, oh, don't shoot him, no! It could have almost been taken a little bit further, honestly, but at least the concept here is really cool. And they amp up even more with the pressure, because 10K does finally manage to take out the sniper, right? Takes out the sniper, and then the two other Zona guys don't want to put themselves in the line of fire, so they tell Addie, get on that gun and kill the dude who's shooting at us, or we'll kill Lucy. So now you have 10K and Addie, sniper versus sniper. The tension here is so high. It would be higher if it wasn't Z Nation and we didn't know how these things play out, but it is Z Nation. And so how this plays out is they both take the shot simultaneously and their bullets collide in midair. That is ridiculous and would be the most Z Nation thing that could possibly happen, if not for the next thing that happens, which is that the guy in the middle, the no man's land, finally zombifies, comes back, and the one recruit that's with them that isn't Henry Rollins or 10K or Doc, she has cool hair though, takes a shot at this guy who's been zombified, hits him in the head, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. We've got zombies that do not go down to headshots now. We've got crazy zombies from Zona, which I assume we'll see more of those. We've got headshot-proof zombies now. Things are going crazy in this apocalypse right now. I don't know how are you going to defend yourself against a headshot-proof zombie? Whatever. Finally, we get the most Z Nation thing about this episode, not the headshot-proof zombie, not the bullets colliding in midair, is 10K, as the zombie comes towards him, realizes he can't shoot him in the head, shoots the dude in the shoulder, spins him around, and sends him running back towards the house, where the people that he thinks are the enemy are, but it's also Addie and Lucy. And then Addie does the same thing, and they play Spin the Zombie like 5 times. The scene goes on for 2 minutes, and I'm someone who likes to look for the more serious stuff in Z Nation. I'm more of a fan of the commentary on the human condition, and I like the funness in it, but there's a part of me that thinks, okay, y'all are just getting ridiculous now. Like, maybe it's just because of how long the scene went on. I like the idea of spinning the zombie around and sending him back towards the house, but the fact that it just went on and on and on, yeah, it got a little bit tiresome for me. I felt like that scene could have done with like maybe one less couple spins with 10K and Addie, but that's what it is. You know, inside the house, Addie and Lucy try to, you know, make a break for it. Lucy gets outside, but she's grabbed. Addie is shot by one of 10K's bullets, but she's only grazed, and she fights off her other Zona attacker, and now Lucy is once again being dragged around by somebody through the apocalypse. Poor girl. Like, this is just her life. People just drag her around. I mean, granted, as a kid, like, her parents were, you know, watching over her, but then the man had her, and then Addie had her, and now this other dude from Zona has her, and it's just dragging Lucy all over the place. This girl needs a different plot line, and Addie, of course, is coming after her again, which is another repeat of last season. But we have that end up. The guys managed to get some of the trucks, I think, back to the camp, where they find, again, another sort of Mary Celeste-esque scene. And we've seen this start to play out. Earlier in the episode, we saw Red get a radio call from 10K. He's cut off, and she doesn't want to tell everybody the bad news that they're being pinned down because there's already sort of a lack of hope. So she just goes to Sun Mei and tells Sun Mei, hey, listen, things might not be great. And then in that moment, we see her walk out of the tent, and things are a little bit quiet. But the first time I saw this, I didn't understand that the camp was just empty. And she's looking off into the distance, and like a look comes over her face, and then it's just bam, cut to commercial. Sun Mei has the same thing a little bit later, where she walks out, and the camp, now it's very clear. We get a longer shot this time. The camp is empty, and I don't know how they're going to justify this. This seems pretty hard to justify, that all these people would just walk away from their camp. I'm looking forward to how they justify it, but the upshot is that Doc and 10K and Henry Rollins and Cool Hair Recruit make it back to the camp and find everybody gone. All right, all their friends. Red for 10K is kind of a big deal. Sun Mei for Doc, kind of a big deal. Henry Rollins and this other recruit, I'm sure, had friends that were in the camp. The one guy who wanted to leave, like, they're all gone. And they have to now go on this hunt for the rest of the camp. You know, the Roanoke Island people who just disappeared, who got kidnapped by the Indians possibly. So that's the episode. That's most of what happened here. Addie going after Lucy. These guys going after their missing comrades. Murphy and Warren coming back to the mainland, gonna get it in the mix again. A lot of really interesting pieces in motion. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with this. I think we're going back to a road trip setup, because in the promo, Warren says we need to go east, all right? They're obviously in California. Well, they're in Washington for the filming, but for the plot, they're sort of in that whole West Coast area, and they need to get together and head east back to New York. I don't love the idea that we're recycling the road trip idea. I liked season 3 in how that we had a new dynamic of Murphy trying to build a new world, and it really seems like that they're just nerfing all of that and saying, yeah, that's not going to happen. Murphytown's probably toast if the vaccine that the Murphy blends got was the same that the people in Zona got. Although we'll get some cool new enemy, not quite zombie things, but whatever they are. But it seems like that's probably a problem for those guys. And we're going back to the road trip conceit. I don't hate the road trip conceit. It just seemed like I need there to be a goal. And if the Black Rainbow's the goal, and there's some definitive thing that we can find back east, fine. But let's not just keep doing the same thing over and over again. I want there to be progression. I want there to be, like, I want these characters to progress, and I don't love the idea that Murphy's kind of back to, well, I guess he's not back to what he was. Currently, he's just this pampered baby, which I don't love. I liked ambitious, megalomaniacal, egotistical Blue Murphy building his empire and being zombie Jesus, and here he is just sort of, I want to stay here and have fun and casual sex. Which, granted, is a very Murphy thing to say, but when he's driven, boy, is he awesome. And has he been eating brains this whole time, by the way? Speaking of things that we're just going to drop from Season 3, he had a hankering for brains. Has that been a thing this whole time? It's been 2 years. Did he just have the one brains and love it, but decide, nah, that's not for me? Because that seems unlikely, you guys. That seems a little bit unlikely. I want that addressed. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. Thank you so much for you guys for watching. If you have thoughts or questions, I don't have all the answers, but you're sure welcome to drop them in the comments anyway. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week with another episode of the Z Nation Recap. Take care, y'all.